The policy criminalised a lot more. The standard licence conditions, point 14, states, no naked flame, pyrotechnics, fireworks, knives, sharp objects or similar should be used as part of the performance. I asked the buskers to estimate what proportion of West Piazza shows contain dangerous props, and, unsurprisingly, they said it was about 90%. In other words, only 10% of the shows on the West Piazza, London's most iconic busking pitch, could even busk within the terms of the licence. Everyone else would get a licence, break the rules by using dangerous props, immediately lose their licence, and end up where they started. What would be the point of signing up to that? The policy also makes getting a licence an impossibility for performers visiting from other countries. In its licensing application process and procedures, they say that a performer needs a declaration of right to work in the UK. But according to the person I spoke to at Viva La Visa, who are entertainingly named specialists covering visas in the entertainment industry, buskers don't need the right to work. There's no artist or work visa that covers street performance, and buskers are allowed to get remuneration under the tourist visa as long as it's not part of a contract. This is no small thing. It's not just tourists that come from all over the world to visit the West Piazza. It's also buskers. Many incredible internationally touring street shows put Covent Garden's cobblestones on their world tours, and it's brilliant. Not just because locals get to see a constant change in the roster of performers there, but because it does wonders for local businesses. The volunteer directors of the Covent Garden Street Performers Association were therefore given a choice. They could get their members to sign up to a licence that makes most of their shows illegal, or continue, business as usual, by telling their members to ignore the licence. They chose the latter. Is that how the council report presented the facts? Of course not. Its authors instead suggested that the SBA told their members not to get licences because they wanted to have the flexibility to move around the city and not have specific rules or conditions that, if breached, could lead to the loss of their licence and, therefore, their livelihood or a criminal conviction. Well, that makes it sound like the buskers wanted to be lawless, roaming vagabonds. Sure, the Covent Garden SPA didn't think that buskers should be stripped of their livelihoods and treated like criminals, but the basic fact is that the licence excluded them. Later on, the report suggests 5 more reasons why a busker might not decide to sign up for the licence, 3 of which were, they may have criminal records, they wish to avoid scrutiny from state agencies such as HMRC, or they do not agree that the licensing regime should apply to them. It may be useful for the council to portray the buskers as tax-dodging criminals who believe they're above the law, but there are lots of other reasons why someone might not sign up. For example, the SPA already self-manages in a way that virtually eliminates noise complaints and have done for decades. They use so-called dangerous props in their shows, so they couldn't get a license. They couldn't provide a right-to-work declaration because it doesn't exist. They can't afford the public liability insurance mandated by the council. They are homeless and can't provide the home address required on a license application. They don't speak English as a first language and were unable to navigate the council's English-only website. There simply isn't enough space for everyone to perform legally, so what's the point of even trying? They don't believe that a relatively new council should be able to criminalise a cultural tradition dating back at least 3 centuries in London, or they are offended at how the council has treated them, by, for example, suggesting that they are tax-dodging criminals who think they're above the law. Ignoring all that, and instead questioning the morals of unlicensed buskers, is an awful, insulting misrepresentation that shouldn't have made it into an official council document. In fact, an increasing number of performers that I've talked to now believe, not without evidence, that because of misrepresentations just like this, the report's authors are out to get the street performers associations in London. But more on that later.